Alrighty, good morning. Today is February 2nd. I'm just going to go do some charting that I didn't do last night before the session starts. And then I'll kind of go over what I was looking at last night and how price responded to those areas before this morning. I normally mark out the previous day high, low, and EQ. I just a bit tired last night and forgot. Okay. Okay. So we got that taken care of. Okay, so anyways, let's just go over what I was looking at last night. Because obviously price went and did exactly what I anticipated it to do last night. So last night we were on the weekly charts. I identified this weekly order block previous week. But really last night what I was marking out was EQ of this wick low here from the 20th as well as EQ from the 15th back here. I just didn't change the text of that. This one is of the 15th. Where because of where we were with price, I anticipated potential, obviously open low, which is what was occurring last night, and we'll get into that. So marked out these two areas of which I expected price to maybe dig into. You can see that on ES, we only needed to dig into this first one from the 20th, not the 15th here, right? Um, so I had marked that out, and then for YM, because we've been consolidating on top of all-time highs. I marked out this 15th wick as well, but also I really been drawing just previous all-time high across because that is where we're using to build a base. So that was on the weeklies, and then I just went down to the dailies, right? And we can see here on the dailies, with YM we were a little bit kind of already far in price, but that's that wick low, all-time highs. We had a lot of two-stage SMT going on at the lows, which was why I was anticipating a spurt in price. But this was last night. We've been monitoring this weekly order block. However, I wanted to see how price was going to respond inside the daily order blocks. And so I also went ahead and marked out EQ of that daily OB for NQ. And I did the same thing for ES. And you can see here that we did, in fact, go ahead and dig into that EQ before now expanding back. So, um, you know, these SMTs I don't really need to pay attention to anymore, obviously, because I anticipate us running out the highs. These should all fail. However, we're not there yet, so we just want to continue to monitor price and see what's going on there. So that being said, that was the dailies. Um, and then we'll just look here on the 4 hours before I switch to the trading chart. So like what I'm looking for here, right? You can see that, here's daily open. Okay, we've moved into EQ as well as these EQ of these wicks, and now we begin to expand Normally, 30 can look appetizing as well as 45, but you can see here that we will not actually get a closure, a potential closure, or a CSD for higher. This being a valid bullish OB to then open low into until 7 a.m., right, or 10 o'clock. Unless we're already going to get on the lower time frames, which we can get into that, unless it's already clear that 30 or 45 is going to continue this candle's expansion, potentially want to wait a little, really wait for 10 o'clock today. Well, let's see. So YM has already given the change in stated delivery here at 2. Okay, so YM is the leading asset here, and I have to do more, but I always thought ES could be the leading asset. According to GXT, it can't be. It's usually always the middle asset. So if YM is the leading asset with the change in stated delivery that has already occurred, then that would mean that if this is the middle asset, then NQ is the lagging asset, which means it needs to catch up. And so we'll be able to look on the lower time frames to see that maybe that is 30 or 45 opening low to then catch up at expansion to these highs. So we know at least the EQ. There's a 4-hour bearish OB right here. Okay, so that takes care of that. Let me stop this recording and then I can start one for today.